360 Strong Women, everyone. Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about 4 important nutrition tips that all women need. I'm going to go through some basic foundation. That's going to be tip 1. You have to have a basic foundation of what kind of nutrients you're looking for. We're going to do a tip 2, which is talking about why we have to cut a certain amount of calories, either burning them with movement or cutting them out because of our decline in estrogen. We're going to talk about the specific nutrients that all women need to be their best, healthiest self. And then we're going to talk about intermittent fasting a little bit. So strap in, get comfortable, maybe take some notes, and we're going to go through this information. Get into our basic information. The basic information is, I'm going to make it really simple for you. I've done this in other videos. So we want to eat whole foods, not processed, but whole foods. And then we want to eat mostly plants, mostly fruits and vegetables. And what does that look like, Beth? Are you telling me to be a vegetarian or a vegan? No, I'm not telling you that, but I'm saying a plant-based diet is going to be a healthier version for you overall. It's vetted science. We've tested all of the diets, and the Mediterranean diet actually comes out to be number 1, but mostly plants. So when you're looking at your plate, you're looking at mostly fruits and vegetables. 50% of your plate going to be fruits and vegetables, complex carbs, also legumes, proteins. You're going to get all those deep, dark nutrients in there with a plant-based diet. Doesn't mean you're not eating meat or having servings of seafood, things like that. But you're going to do it in a smaller version. So we're flip-flopping the American diet where we eat predominantly are big pieces of meat, and they may be bigger than 4 ounces. So if you look at your palm of your hand, that's about 3 to 4 ounces for you. So everybody's hand is different. I have a small hand, but I'm only 5 foot. So this is my 3 to 4 ounces. You're eating your meats, your proteins, your lean chicken, your lean fish. I don't eat red meat, but if you choose to, you're eating a smaller version of that. So we're eating it in a condiment style. So think about your plate, think about mostly plants, and then a little bit of your meat if you're choosing that. You can get a lot of protein without eating meat. So that's a myth that says you can only get your protein from meat. So whole foods, mostly plants. And then we want to say not too much. So it's that simple. Whole foods, mostly plants, not too much. We break it down like that. Now we could say, we're done, but I'm going to get into more specifics. What do I mean by not too much? What I mean is, let's go by the 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule says we're going to eat 80% and leave that 20%. So I'm not going to eat everything and become so full. I'm going to leave a little bit. That's going to make me a little healthier, and it's going to help me learn how not to overeat. Overeat meaning I'm lethargic. I'm so full that I don't feel good. Have you ever been there? I've been there, but now we learn how to eat the 80-20. I'm going to eat for my fuel. I'm going to fill up, but not all the way. I'm going to leave a little extra room. So now my digestion is a little bit better. My nutrients are working on energy, and I'm not feeling bloated, stuffed, lethargic, sleepy. I don't want to go to sleep after my meal. I want to feel fueled after my meal. So whole foods, mostly plants, not too much. That is pretty much the basics. We want to eat the color of the rainbow. So when we're looking at our whole foods and mostly plants, color is better. So we're not looking at white foods. We're not looking, so not white rice. We're looking at deep, dark nutrients, bright, vibrant colors. That's going to tell you that those colorful plants and vegetables and fruits legumes, those dark beans, are going to give us more nutrients. So more bang for your buck, right? You can eat a lot of it for less calories, less sugar, and have more vitamins, and specifically certain nutrients that women need. So we're eating whole foods, mostly plants, not too much. Color of the rainbow. Think about the rainbow and fill it up with those colors. And most of those foods are going to land in what we call an anti-inflammatory foods. And anti-inflammatory foods help us with systemic inflammation. If you have bloating, if you have achy joints, if you get headaches, if you have heavy cravings, if you have dry eye and your eyes burn all the time, things like that, if you're tired all the time, you may have systemic inflammation, meaning that the inside of your body is inflamed. And we want to reduce that inflammation. And how do we do that? We provide our body with anti-inflammatory foods that are going to help us feel better and be less inflamed. So if you're achy all the time, if your joints hurt all the time, if you have dry mouth, or you have headaches all the time, or you have dry eye, those are an indication of, one, your hormones are in fluctuation, you're losing a lot of estrogen for my women out there, but you could be systemically inflamed, and stress can do that too. And so we need those types of foods. And if you are eating whole foods, mostly plant, not too much, the color of the rainbow, I almost guarantee you that you are putting anti-inflammatory foods into your body. I'm not going to get into the specifics of all that. There is a video on all of that and it dives in, but I wanted to give you basic information. So tip 1, we need a foundation. That's your formula, that's your foundation. We move forward from there. Pro tip number 2 for women: if you are between the ages of 30 and 60 plus, so I'm 61, if you're there, then you want to listen to this, because what happens to our body, perimenopausal to postmenopausal, we're losing our estrogen. It's a steep decline and it's a fast decline. So we start to lose that estrogen, a lot of crazy things happen to our body, and we're like, what is happening? What is happening? And it's because you're losing estrogen. Estrogen does a lot for our body, and there's 3 types of estrogen. I'm not going to get into the science of that, but there are a lot of doctors out there that can help you with that. And if you hit my button, like, subscribe, and share, I can give you those resources if you're interested. So just reach out to me, Beth. I'd like to learn more about that, and I will send you some vetted doctors, vetted science that will give you more information about those seasons of life and maybe what to do with that. Yeah? All right. So because we're declining so much in our estrogen, it's really tough for us to burn the calories that we used to burn, because we had extra fuel. It was like we could burn that extra 200 calories. And I'm talking about 200 calories. 200 calories is a lot. So what we need to do in these seasons of life is either burn 200 more calories or deficit 200 more calories. So there's 2 ways you can do that. You can cut 200 calories out of your diet. So what we want to do, and I've said this before in videos, is don't go under 1,200 calories. You need at least 1,200 calories for brain cognition and discernment, making good decisions. So we don't want to be crazy deficit on our calories. We want to, and this is why it's so important to pick and choose what we put into our body and make sure you're fueling your body, because you only have so many calories. And now women who are losing estrogen have to get rid of another 200 calories to have weight maintenance. And so if you are a person who loves to move, loves to exercise, is very active, you could probably burn 200 more calories by just taking an extra walk throughout the day. That's what I choose to do. Because I'm short and I'm only 5 foot, my caloric intake is small, and I don't want to go below my 1,200 calories. And so I'm careful about how I fuel my body, but I burn my extra 200 calories by movement. And you can do that. You can go into our playlist and do workouts, but you could also take an extra walk through the day. So if you're doing that and you're a mover and you're active, consider that that's your way to do it. And whatever you're burning, you're just going to up your watch. So if you have your watch set and it's like, I have it set for, to burn 500 calories, and then it finishes my thing, just move it up. And so that you know you're going to get those extra steps in and that extra movement in to burn those extra 200 calories, you're good to go. If you're very sedentary and you're like, I get my movement in, Beth, but I don't really enjoy it, I'm more sedentary, I'm very busy, you may have to go I have to be super, super careful on my tracking on my calories as far as putting in food. And that makes it very specific on how I fuel my body and how many calories I'm putting in. So now you're counting your calories. So if that works for you, that's great. I'm not telling anybody to do one or the other. I'm just telling you that you'll have better weight maintenance if you can cut those calories, one way by movement or the other way by calorie deficit. Remember, we don't want to go below 1,200 calories. We need those calories for brain function, and particularly discernment, making cognition, and reaction time. So we need that, especially for behind the wheel. So let's not be crazy with our deficit. I want to make sure that you're hearing what I'm saying. We're not going below 500 calories. We're not staying at a 500 calorie. That's not enough fuel for a body, for your brain. So if you're like me and you're tiny and you're already down there, and taking 200 calories away is going to put you below 1,200 calories, then my suggestion is maybe you take a little bit away and maybe you move a little bit more. So you have to figure that out. Burning calories and getting in a little extra movement and walk is the way that I do it. It's easier for me because I enjoy movement, but you have to decide. So not telling you which one to do, I'm just telling you getting rid of 200 extra calories in these seasons of life is going to help you with weight maintenance and feeling better. Because what we don't want to see, and this happens a lot, and it's happened to me and I'm still working on it as I'm postmenopausal, is no estrogen and all that visceral fat wants to form around your abdomen. And that can maybe give you a heart issue. So we have to be very careful with that and try to keep that visceral fat away. And that means what? We have to build muscle to do that. All right, so that is tip number 2. So tip number 1, basic information. Whole foods, mostly plant, not too much, color of the rainbow. You know where I'm going with that. Tip number 2, we're getting rid of 200 kcals. One way or another. We're either taking it out and counting our calories specifically, minus 200, or we're burning it off with an extra walk. All right, and then we move to our next one. This is where we get into the specific nutrients that women really need, especially in these seasons of life, that are going to help you feel better. And we're going to talk about protein, fiber, omega-3s, polyphenols and phytonutrients, magnesium, vitamin B12, vitamin D3, calcium citrate, and probiotics. So let's dig into that. Our protein is first. And we need protein because we need to build muscle, we need to recover, and it's going to help us be strong. So we're always fighting that visceral fat that comes with perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause. And so putting on protein, taking in protein is going to help you build muscle and burn fat. So I have my notes here, so I'm going to read some of that. Some of these that I'm going to talk about, it's not all the proteins that are out there. It's just the ones that have more grams than the others. So there are a lot of protein sources out there, and you have to pick the one that fits you the best. Some people can process meat proteins, or what we call whey proteins, and some people it's hard on their stomach. They need a plant protein. I eat mostly plant proteins. However, I do eat lean chicken and seafood. I don't eat red meat. That doesn't mean you can't. It just means for me, it doesn't process really well, and so I never feel good when I eat red meat. So I just stay away from it because it's not worth it for me. I'd rather feel pretty good. But I need to get in those protein sources. So how much protein do we need? Well, for women, we're looking at 75 to 90 grams a day. That's 20% of your caloric intake. We're still doing, right, plant-based, mostly plants, fruits, and vegetables, but there's a lot of protein in your plant-based foods. So don't be shocked that you don't be like, I can't get, if I'm only eating condiments as my protein, I can't get in the amount I need. You can. And I do it all the time. So we need 20% of our caloric intake to build our muscle. And especially if you're lifting, which you should be as a woman, because one, we need muscle, and two, to make our body strong, burn fat, and two, lift for osteoporosis, for our skeletal system. So our skeletal system needs to become dense. We need to do movement with that, plyometric movement and lifting of weights. And then we need to put on muscle. That's going to help us burn fat and keep our weight maintenance. And so we need to eat protein, but we also need to lift to help those muscles get toned up. And so what are our protein sources? So before I go to that, remember that we need that amount, 75 to 90 grams per day. And that would be like how tall you are and your weight. Those grams, about 20% of your caloric intake is going to be protein, and you can split that up through the day. So depending on how many meals you make, so some of us eat little small meals throughout the day. We break it up that way. Some of us eat one big, long, large meal in the middle of the day, and then maybe two little small ones on the end. So you're going to take your protein and split it up so that you're not consuming it all at once, because it needs time to digest and everything like that. And so split it up. So if you're eating, say, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks, it might be 15 grams of protein per each calorie intake that you have. Protein sources are going to include salmon, lean chicken, eggs, collagen protein powder, really good way to get protein in. Pea protein also, no sugar, great way to get protein in. Most people can digest plant proteins. Tofu, Greek yogurt. Remember, we're looking for Greek yogurt without sugar, not those ones that are all flavored and have a lot of sugar. They do have some flavored, I believe it's Chobani has some now that are Greek yogurt, no sugar added. And so it's very low sugar. That may taste a little bit better for you, but you can add berries and things to your yogurt. Cheese, almonds, chickpeas and chia seeds, beans or legumes, lentils, edamame, quinoa, and brown rice. Remember, we're talking about color of the rainbow, plant-based, but all of those, a lot of those are not meat sources, have a lot of protein in them, particularly lentils. Lentils are really good for you. They're anti-inflammatory, and they're packed with protein. So you can put them in all kinds of soups and stews and salads. Like you could make or quinoa, you can make a bowl with it and add your fruits and vegetables to that. You get a lot of protein from that. Protein helps build muscles It helps with weight loss and weight maintenance, bone health, super important for us as we lose our estrogen. Helps with digestion, recovery after exercise. So remember, we're moving sometimes to burn those extra calories, and we need protein in our bodies to help us do that. Reduces body fat because we're building muscle, and it helps our immune system, which was really important because we want to stay healthy as we get older. And sometimes when we get sick, it's a little harder to get better. It takes us a little bit longer to recover from injuries, and protein's going to help you with that. So we need protein in our bodies. That next nutrient on tip 3 is fiber. Women need 28 grams of fiber daily. No ands, ifs, or buts. You need to have the fiber. It helps when you're a plant-based eater because you're getting a lot of plants, fruits, and vegetables that have a lot of fiber in them, particularly legumes. Sources of fiber are avocados, peas, squash, fresh berries, lentils, black beans, chickpeas, pears. Now look at that. Black beans, chickpeas. So full of fiber, but also full of protein. So you're checking off 2 boxes right there if you're adding that into your eating plan. Pears, broccoli, greens, red potatoes, sweet potatoes, cherries, and cherries got that little extra bonus benefit of helping you sleep better. Kale and barley. So all of those, again, there's more foods out there that have fiber in it. So if you don't see anything on that list that sounds yummy to you, you can research and say, I need a food that has fiber in it. I need fiber. But these are the ones that have higher amounts in it and have other benefits too, like protein. And we need to get in those 28 grams. Now, it can be hard to get 28 grams of protein in it because you just feel like you're eating a lot. Great news about plants is high in nutrients, low in caloric intake. Avocados are a little different because they are a healthy fat as well. So we're going to talk about omega-3s next. So we need avocados. Avocados are so good for you, but you can't eat a ton of them because then you go over your caloric intake. So we're thinking about a half avocado. If you are a high burner or you don't have to worry about weight maintenance, you can do an avocado and it's going to be okay. If you're adding that in, just add those calories in because calories are a little higher for an avocado because of the healthy fat. But we need the healthy fat. We're going to talk about that next. So just keep in mind. Now, if you need to supplement, because I'm trying to get 28 grams of fiber and I'm struggling with that, then you could add a fiber supplement. Consider, if you're adding a fiber supplement, you're going to start very small and work your way up. You can get an organic raw fiber supplement that you would mix with water or put in a smoothie, or you can sprinkle it into your meals. I would get one without psyllium because psyllium can really upset your stomach. But you're going to have to get used to it. Your stomach has to, as you get healthier, because what does fiber do? It helps you with gut health. And when we think of our gut, I want you to think about it as second brain, because your gut helps maintain those hormones and the fluctuation of the hormones. And so we need a healthy gut. If you suffer from a gut illness, or have leaky gut, then you're going to want to get your gut healthy because it's disrupting everything else in your life. And so fiber is going to be one of those things that you're going to need to add. But we want to make sure you're not doing it all at once, that you're slowly adapting if you're adding a supplement. So I would go raw, organic fiber that you're adding. And usually it's like a scoop. It gives you like 26 grams of fiber. So it's a lot of fiber all at once. So you may be doing like little teaspoons to add in with what you're eating. And if you're just getting used to eating whole whole foods, mostly plants, maybe before you've eaten a lot of processed foods and high sugar. And so one, you're trying to get off that craving hamster wheel, but two, you're getting used to putting in all those nutrients into your body. Your body has to adjust, but it will adapt and adjust, and you will start to feel better. But careful with that, putting all that fiber in all at once. Just take it easy, take it slow. You'll get there, and then you'll feel better. The benefits of fiber include keeping you satiated, controls your appetite. So if you were on the hamster wheel of cravings, fiber is going to help slow all that down, process all that through slowly. And what that helps you do is you can absorb nutrients better. So with the fiber, you're slowing things down. Things aren't just going into your bloodstream and flushing out. You're able to slow down the digestion process so that you can absorb these great nutrients, these deep nutrients that you're putting in your body, and your body has time to say, hey, I need that, and I'm going to use that, and yeah, great, I'm not going to flush it out. It will help trim your waistline. So again, because it's hard for us to burn those extra calories, fiber can help us have that weight maintenance. So we need that so we don't have that visceral fat around our abdomen, so we keep our heart healthy. And that's the most important thing. I'm not really concerned about body image as much as I am, how do I keep my heart healthy, right? Body image comes with getting healthy from the inside out. So it will come. Don't worry about, it's not about like how I look. It's how I feel. I get up through the day. I want to feel good. I want to have energy. I want to be able to make it through the day and still feel vibrant and healthy. And I want my heart to be healthy. I want my brain to be healthy. I want my joints to feel good. I want to build muscle. I want to be strong. I want to hold up my body and not feel like I'm so defeated because my body's falling apart. So fiber is going to help you. Regulates blood sugar. So if you're in that situation where insulins, you have spike, and you have a chronic comorbidity, you need fiber. Gut health is the most important thing here. We want our gut to be healthy because it's your second brain, and it's going to help manage those hormone fluctuations. So that's fiber. Well, what do we need? Protein, and we need fiber, and we need to make sure we're getting enough fiber. Most of us are deficient in the consumption of fiber. And you think, well, I had a salad, I must have enough fiber. It's probably not enough. 28 grams it's a goal. So work up to it. And leave me comments below. How do you get your fiber in? Be interested. Hi, Jackson. All right, the next one we're talking about, this goes on the healthy fats. So when we're talking about macros, protein, complex carbs, and healthy fats, we need to get those in. So we've talked about protein and how much we need to ingest and what the sources are and what the benefits are. Then we talked about fiber, and that comes into those complex carbohydrates, which one gives you energy, but two gives you fiber. Now we're talking about omega-3s. Omega-3s are those healthy fats that we need to get into our body. So when you think about omega-3, I want you to think about anti-inflammatory, reduction of inflammation. There's omega-6 out there. We do put a little bit of omega-6 in our body, but we don't want to put a lot of omega-6 in our body because even though it's a semi-healthy fat, it's inflammatory, so it will inflame your body. We want more omega-3s in our body because it's anti-inflammatory, and that's what we want. We're looking for women, we need approximately 2 grams of omega-3s a day. Sources of omega-3s also include fiber and protein. So again, check, if you're eating these foods, and they would include like flaxseed, chia seeds, avocados, salmon, chopped walnuts, hemp seeds, tofu, soybeans, omega-3 eggs, spinach, and winter squash. Those are the ones that have the higher amounts of omega-3s. There are others. When you think about oils, and I get this all the time, Beth, what kind of oil should I consume? Olive oil, avocado oil, that's it. The other oils are omega-6, and they're inflammatory. So if you have joint issues, if you have those systemic inflammation symptoms like dry eye, dry mouth, my muscles hurt, I get cramps in my muscles, my joints are on fire all the time or achy, I have this visceral inflammation, I'm always puffed out in my belly. It's not necessarily weight. Sometimes it's systemic inflammation. You just feel like you're bloated and everything's inflamed on the inside. It's like it's on fire on the inside and you're like, what's going on? And stress can do that to you. So it can heighten those stress hormones, and then inflammation comes in the body. And we need everything to work for us and not against us. And sometimes the things that we consume work against us. So omega-3s are going to help you. Omega-3s, anti-inflammatory, also heart healthy. We need heart health, especially if we have visceral fat around our abdomen. That can cause some heart issues. So we want to get in those omega-3s to kind of help with that. Also, brain and eye health. Super important, especially if you have systemic inflammation in your eyes. They're burning, they are dry. You wake up in the morning like, I can't make them tear up. And there are medications out there that your ophthalmologist may give you, or drops that can help moisturize. But the better thing would be, let's find out what the problem is instead of putting these Band-Aids on. So the drops may help make you feel better, but what we need to do is put the nutrients in to get the inflammation down so that now you can tear, you can have less inflammation. And so that's like a symptom. So if you have that, it's probably because perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, no estrogen, all this stuff is happening in your body. I know it sounds like it's chaotic, because it is. It's chaotic in your body, and we need to fight against that. So we need these anti-inflammatory things. Omega-3s are just one of those. And it lubricates your joints like W40. So if you feel like the Tin Man and you're popping and cracking and snapping all the time, you need omega-3s. I can't get enough omega-3s, and I'm still popping and snapping because I work out so much. So, not overwork out, but I'm in that industry, so I have to provide those for you. And so I want healthy joints. I want fluidity in my body. I don't want to feel achy and like the Tin Man. So omega-3s are great, and I rely on those. We're going to go to that next one. So we got fiber, we got protein, we got omega-3s, we're putting them in. And notice that you're hearing a lot of the same foods. A lot of the same nutrients provide a lot of the same things. So it's not like you have to have this and then this, and then you don't have enough cabinet space in your kitchen. It's not like that. When you go back and maybe listen to this and take some notes, you're going to be like, oh, I should always have spinach in my house. I should always have avocados in my house. I should always have beans in my house, and nuts and seeds, and then I'm pretty good to go. So pick your favorites, and they're going to give you and provide you with the things that you need. Polyphenols and phytonutrients. Polyphenols and phytonutrients. I'm going to just talk really briefly about those. They are your plant-based foods, your fresh berries, your apples, green tea, onions, your vegetables, your nuts, your seeds, your olives. Remember I talked about olive oil, avocado oil. That's all you're putting in. Olives are super good for you. Again, olives could be high in calories, so you have to keep track of that and not consume a ton, but you're going to want some in there because they give you the super high benefits, super anti-inflammatory benefits. Cacao is a polyphenol and a phytonutrient. Now, when I talk about cacao, I'm talking about chocolate, but I'm talking about dark, deep cacao. Not talking about milk chocolate that has a ton of sugar in it, sorry. I'm talking about 70% or higher, full of anti-inflammatory. So if you need a little bit of a sweet, got a little sweet tooth, you love chocolate, get rid of all the milk stuff. Go deep, dark chocolate. Now, it can be a little bitter, so you're only going to want a little bit because that's going to satiate you and satisfy you and provide you with anti-inflammatory, brain-boosting, protective, neurogenerative antioxidants. That was a big mouthful, but that's what it provides you. You just need a little bit. You just need a little bit. So we want to include our phytonutrients and our polyphenols. And if you're eating mostly a plant-based diet, go back to your basic information, then you're getting in these phytonutrients and polyphenols. And they could be things like spinach, turmeric, kale, tomatoes, broccoli, collard greens, whole grains, legumes, coffee, just plain coffee without all this stuff. Now, when I get off on that coffee talk, and I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole with it, but coffee is caffeinated. So if there's an issue with caffeination, remember you need hydration with it. So think about a 1-to-1. 8 ounces of coffee needs 8 more ounces of water so that you stay hydrated. You have to stay on top of that because caffeine is dehydrating. Also, we don't want to have caffeine later in the day because it's going to mess up your circadian. I'm going to do a video on coffee, and I get a lot of questions about mushroom coffee. It's a big trend now. Mushrooms are super anti-inflammatory. They're great for you. There's been studies done on them. Helps people with migraines, but a lot of people don't like the texture of mushrooms. So you could ingest mushroom coffee. I don't know what it tastes like yet because I haven't tried it, but I will just to compare because I like coffee and see what it is. I'm imagining that it has less caffeine, so it doesn't give you the jitters. And so if you have a thing with jitters, it is anti-inflammatory. It's going to help your skin. It's going to help you feel better. It's going to help with all that. So if you are consuming it, let me know in the comments below how much you like it, how much you don't. And I imagine it's like chicory coffee. So chicory is a coffee that you can have. It's purely vegan. There's no caffeine in it. To me, it tastes very earthy, but it doesn't taste like coffee to me. It's very mild. It's not a strong coffee, but has benefits to it. So if you're a drinker of chicory, you can let me know that too. And we'll do another video on that because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. But every time I talk about phytonutrients and polyphenols and I say coffee, I get a lot of comments about the coffee and is this better? Is this better? How should I have my coffee? When should I have my coffee? So we'll set that aside, put a pin in it, and do another video on coffee. So make sure you tune in. Maybe hit the bell when you like, subscribe, and share, and then you'll be notified when a video comes out so you won't miss it. All right, we want to talk about the next one, and we're talking about magnesium. And we need 310 to 320 milligrams of magnesium daily for women. Foods that have magnesium in them are dark leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, salmon, almonds, cashews, dark chocolate. Remember, we're going over 70% for cacao, quinoa, avocados, tofu, edamame, flax seeds, black beans, and lima beans. And that's just a small amount, but you'll notice, check, check, check. A lot of these foods have all the things we've talked about at the basic core, your foundation. So if you're doing those things, you're getting these nutrients in. Magnesium keeps our bones strong, so super relevant and critical for women whose bones are breaking down because we're losing that estrogen and our bones are becoming brittle. So we have to lift, and we need magnesium to help keep them intact and dense. We're going to talk about vitamin D also and calcium citrate. It prevents insulin resistance, guards against heart health. So remember, omega-3s and magnesium also help your heart, enhances sleep, mood, boost your mood, burns fat, helps with other comorbidities, and helps with anxiety and depression. So if you're a person that is completely stressed out, your hormones are in influx, magnesium might be something that you need to really incorporate in to help you have a better mood, help you just calm down a little bit, help you sleep better. So when we have that perimenopause to postmenopause, and we go through all of these symptomatic things because our estrogen is going downhill, right? We might have sleep disruption. For any of you ladies out there who have had night sweats or sleep disruption, either can't fall asleep or is constantly waking up through the night, magnesium may be a way to help you out. And you can also, if you have sore muscles or joint issues, and you're working towards this healthier lifestyle of eating, but you need a little bit of help, Epsom salt. You can soak in Epsom salt, pulls the lactic acid out of the muscle, puts magnesium back in to recover muscle. So if you're a workout person like me, you may need extra magnesium to just soak in. You don't want to drink Epsom salt, but you can soak in it for 20 minutes and it'll help you feel better. Or you can get magnesium lotion and rub it in, especially at night, so that you're less achy in your joints, less achy in your muscles. Maybe you have sleepless leg syndrome, or your calves get they get cramps in your calves. You can rub magnesium into it and it will help restore and recover a little bit more, and you may not have that, so you may have better sleep and just help you calm down and sleep a little bit better. So magnesium, super important for us ladies who are going through this season, and we spend the majority of our life in this season one way or another. It is unavoidable, and so let's do all the things that we can do to help us maintain our life through it and feel better. Why suffer when you don't have to? And then always talk to your doctor about if you're supplementing. And I would say from the very beginning, if I haven't already, see a doctor and have your levels checked so that you have a baseline. So we get our bone density checked, we have a baseline. So we know when things start to decline and what we can do with it. But you want to do the same thing with your hormones and your vitamin levels. So don't just start supplementing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying eat these foods that have these nutrients in it so that you're already consuming that, and maybe then you won't become deficient in this vitamin or mineral. If your numbers show that you're deficient in one vitamin or one mineral or something, you may need a supplementation. Your doctor can help you with that, but that's when you're going to want to look at, oh, I'm deficient in this, and so I need X, Y, and Z. Fiber is one of them that usually we're deficient in. The next one's not usually magnesium, sometimes, but if you're eating really healthy, you're probably good to go. D3 is the one that most people are deficient in. We're going to talk about that. D3. D3 is a vitamin that women need that helps you absorb nutrients. So if you're deficient in it, it's more likely that you're ingesting nutrients, but they're not getting absorbed into the body. And magnesium could be one of those. There are several types of magnesium, but magnesium L-threonate is the one that can push through the brain barrier and help with that mood and that calmness, get rid of anxiety. So it's really, and have less brain fog. It's really important. But if we're deficient in vitamin D3, we may not be absorbing the other nutrients the right way. So we want to make sure that our D3 levels are on point. So it's a blood test, your doctor can do it. You want to make sure that you're A-okay when you go for like a physical. That's what you would do. Foods that have D3 in them include mushrooms. So there's your mushroom coffee. Drink it up if you don't like to eat mushrooms. Wild caught salmon and tuna. Always wild caught, not farm raised, because of levels of mercury. We don't want to put toxins in our body. Steel oats, milk, Greek yogurt, remember we're not talking about sugar. Sugar equals pain, it's inflammatory. Almond milk, hard cheese, egg yolks, those are our vitamin D nutrients. Vitamin D helps protect us from osteoporosis, so it helps our bones stay dense, reduces inflammation, so again, an anti-inflammatory, and helps your body absorb nutrients. Super important. If you are not absorbing the nutrients that you're putting in your body, it's all for naught. That's why it's like, I'm eating really healthy, but I don't feel better. So maybe we need to check our vitamin D3 levels. It also helps restore muscles, restore the body, and helps us maintain calcium. So calcium and D3 work together to help us with bone density. And again, if you're in perimenopause to postmenopause, your bone density is going to start to break down. We need structural bone density. So one, we need to lift. That's going to help rejuvenate skeletal structure. But we need to maintain our calcium, and we need to make sure we're getting enough calcium in. So that would bring me to calcium citrate. Calcium citrate is one of the calciums that absorbs quickly into the body and doesn't give you stomach upset. So if you're picking a calcium citrate is the one to go. Foods that include calcium citrate would be kale, yogurt, bok choy, kefir, broccoli, hard cheese, seafood, oranges, chia seeds, almonds, tofu, almond milk, black beans, tomatoes, butternut squash, chickpeas, seed butters, and tahini. And tahini is what we make hummus with. And I have a great recipe. Go in the healthy playlist and pull that. It's really easy to make. It tastes yummy there. But calcium citrate, if you're eating hummus, you're getting protein, chickpeas, tahini. So you're getting a lot of those nutrients in. Notice when I rattled off all those foods, they're in almost every other list we talked about. So you can just put a check and say, this is what I have in my cupboard. I can make a ton of recipes from this. And again, like, subscribe, and share. You can go in our playlist and pull out healthy recipes. We're using most of these ingredients. So you're getting these nutrients in. Calcium citrate is good for maintenance of bone mass, good for your heart. A lot of these things, good for your heart. We want that heart going. Women have heart issues, and they're usually undetected at first. So we need to have this good information, this basic information, whole foods, mostly plants, not too much. Eat the rainbow, get these nutrients in, healthy heart. And muscles, good for your nerves. Calcium citrate, like I said before, it absorbs easily without stomach upset. So some of the other calciums are a little hard on your stomach. So if you have a sensitive stomach, always make sure it's a calcium citrate. Talk about probiotics. We want to get probiotics in because we want good bacteria going into our body to fight off bad bacteria and infection. And we need to be putting probiotics into our body. Gut health, second brain, balance of hormones, because remember, that's what the gut does. It talks to those hormones and makes them, and I'm talking about like your endocrine system, serotonin, melatonin. Serotonin feel good, make you happy. Melatonin have to go to sleep. If they're off balance, it's harder to sleep. And I would not suggest taking melatonin just to sleep, because it's going to throw your serotonin way off. Now you're like, I'm tired all the time. Right? So we want balance so that one works efficiently and then the other one works efficiently. Cortisol, insulin, glycogen, ghrelin, and leptin. Am I hungry or am I full? If they get confused and one's off, then you're either full all the time, I don't want to eat, and you're not getting enough nutrients in, or I'm starving all the time. Even though I just ate, I'm probably eating too much sugar and I'm craving sugar versus I'm hungry, or my leptin and my ghrelin are not talking to each other and my brain doesn't know if I'm full or if I'm hungry. And when they're out of balance like that, it's usually a gut issue. So we want to get our gut healthy. Dopamine, right? Progesterone, adrenaline, all of those hormones. Our endocrine system is very complex, very smart, but when we're out of balance, if one goes out of balance, it's like squeezing toothpaste out of a tube. It's messy. You can't put it back in the tube just like you had it, but you can do these things to help repair. And we need to repair our gut. So we need to be putting billions of good probiotics, good bacteria into our body to fight off bad bacteria and infection. And it's not just bad things that we consume in our body, but it's the environment, things we're breathing in, toxins we're breathing in. And you know, we have to live life. We have to be outside, we have to be inside. Sometimes we're just putting toxins in our body. It could be things we're putting on our face or rubbing into our skin. Toxins in the environment. And so we can't clean up everything, but we can put good bacteria into our gut to help fight off those toxins. That would be tempeh, sauerkraut, miso, bananas, apples, strawberries, kefir, sour pickles, sourdough. Those are just a few. So we're talking about fermented foods. But bananas, apples, strawberries, really good for you. Most people like those. Most people have those around, especially when they're in season. So consume those at that time a lot so that you're getting those probiotics in. If you're not a fan of fermented foods, kombucha or sauerkraut, kefir, if you're not a fan of that, I'm personally not a fan. But what I do is then I supplement my probiotic, and I've asked my doctor, like, what kind, and they've given me something. I don't sponsor any kind of thing, but you want to look for billions. You want billions of good stuff going in your body to fight the billions of bad stuff that are in there. And that just helps balance everything out. Again, just like fiber, if you're not used to it, start slow and work up to it. And with probiotics, it's consistency. Just like fiber, it's consistency, but it's also adaptation. So a little bit at a time till your stomach gets used to it, till your system gets used to it, and then you're good to go. So a little bit at a time. Don't be harsh on your body. That would be unfair. And then the last thing we want to talk about, this is our last tip. So we talked about our basic information, basic foods. And it really all comes down to that. Your baseline, plant-based foods, whole foods, mostly plants, not too much, right? If you're doing that, you're good to go. But we want to make sure as women that we're also cutting this 200 calories one way or the other. And then we're adding these nutrients in. We want to make sure we're thinking about how much fiber am I actually putting in my body, and just kind of journal it out and take note. Once you get used to it, you're good to go. Fiber, magnesium, vitamin B12, because that's energy, calcium citrate, vitamin D3, and yeah, we need all of those in our body. I have to talk about intermittent fasting. So people ask me, like, now I know what to eat, what should be in my cupboard, what I should be putting in my body. When do I eat? Great question. So I would say intermittent fasting is helpful with weight loss, weight maintenance, quality of sleep. So if you're a person who has trouble sleeping, one might think about intermittent fasting to help you. Inflammation, we're always talking about the systemic inflammation that's just creating havoc with our body and our life. Intermittent fasting can help you with that. It power washes your brain and your body and your organs while you're fasting. So it's doing all of the work. It's like taking your car in for an overhaul of maintenance, right? We take care of our cars sometimes better than we take care of our bodies. And so think about it that way. We're going in for maintenance and we're cleaning things up. And we have to give the body that fasting time to do that, because if it's constantly working on digestion, it can't work on other systems. So we want to give our brain a power wash. We want to give our organs a power wash. We want to be able to sleep better. Sleeping is recovering. Got to recover the brain. It has to go to sleep and rest. We want to detox the body. There's a lot of toxins that go into our body that we're unaware of. It happens because we're living in life. And so we want to be able to aid in removal of toxins, and we want to balance our hormones. And intermittent fasting gives us a window of balance and restoration. Balance and restoration, and that's what we want. So if you're not used to intermittent fasting, this is the fastest and easiest way to do it. It's called the 12-hour fast. And what that means is you're going to stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. So the majority of your fast is while you're sleeping. And then you wake up. Once you hit your 12 hours, then you begin your first meal. So it could be 6 p.m. I stop eating. I wake up at 6 a.m. I've done my 12 hours. I'm good to go. So it could look like that. So you're not sleeping the whole time, but if you stop eating before you go to bed 3 hours, you're setting your body up for this really nice maintenance and restoration, and that's what we want. Now, once you get used to that, because it's pretty easy to get used to the 12-hour, if you like it that way and it's helping you, you can stay there. If you want to go a little deeper on your maintenance, maybe you're in a rough patch in your stage of life or your season of life and you're struggling with some things, you may want to go 16-8. 16-8 is the one that helps women the most. It takes a little time and discipline to get used to it. I started with the 12 first, and then once that became like second nature and it was easy, then I dove into the 16-8. And 16-8 is stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed, then fast for 16 hours, and then you've got an 8-hour window of where you consume your nutrients. And it's another reason why we want to be picky about what we're putting in our body. And that really, really helps with all those other symptoms that we're having, especially gut health. A 16-8 is going to really help you. So we used to think that breakfast was the most important part of the day. It's not. So, especially for women, older women, it's not necessary. So if you're doing the 16-8, you may not have your first meal until 11 a.m. When I get up and have my first cup of water to start my metabolism, that's when I'm consuming my vitamins. So vitamins have very small calories, but they do have calories. And your body has to work to pull the nutrients out of your vitamins. And so that would break the fast, but you're not eating a meal. So you can be as strict with those rules as you want. It doesn't really change anything for me. And so that works for me, because otherwise I'm going to forget. And so that's just for me. I would say, that doesn't really break a fast, but if you want to be strict about it, you're going to take your vitamins in when you consume your first meal. So that would count, but it doesn't make or break the fast, really. And so 16-8, and you can start doing it that way. If you are an intermittent faster, leave me comments below and let me know how it's working for you, which one you do. Some people fast for a few days. I can't do that because I need nutrients and energy to, one, bring content to you, and to take care of my clients and my boot camp and all the other things that I do when I teach yoga and things like that. I need nutrients in my body, so I don't usually do like a fast all day or multiple days and then start my food again. Some people, they think that works better. So you can do the research on that. There's a lot of research, but 16-8 seems to be the one that still gives you nutrients, but still gives you enough fasting that you can really restore and recover your body, and seems to really help women in the season of life. So I know this was a lot of information. Break it down into small nuggets. Leave me comments below. If there's something specific in nutrition or one of these nutrients that you really want to talk about, let me know in your comments and I'll do a video on it. So I hope that you have a great day. Don't forget, hydration is always part of this. So we're getting our 8 ounces of water a day, because that's going to help your metabolism, and that's going to help you with your nourishment and absorbing nutrients as well. I didn't talk about that because I've talked about that in other videos, and I remind you every time we work out, 8 ounces of water. So have a great day. I will see you for the next video. Bye.